Welcome to Leopard Architectural Models. Today we're going to go over how to paint the stone for the Berea Depot. Alright, so let's get started. So the first part is getting the color chosen. I ordered up sand, badger color acrylic paint, and it came in a little bit darker, wasn't as warm as I wanted it to be. So I went and I got some UP Armor Yellow to mix with it, just to give it a little bit more of a touch warmer. And here you can see where I've mixed it up into a bottle. Compare the two, that this is the color that we want, something that really gives out the warm tone of the sandstone. So this is what we're going to use. And what we're going to do is we're going to brush 2 coats of it on here. When I'm painting, I don't like to take the paint directly out of the bottle, so instead what I'll do is I'll go and just squirt it onto some sort of palette to start with. And then if I need to, I'll add more. What this lets me do is I can control and really see how much paint I'm putting on the brush at any given time. If I put the paintbrush into the bottle, it gets on the side of the brushes and the bristles and everything else. This way it gets to be a lot more controlled. So it doesn't really matter where we start. It's going to end up taking 2 coats. And don't have to be particularly neat because this is just really our base coat. We don't want to make ourselves as harder than necessary when we do our windows. So not going to be too sloppy. But again, this is just really a base coat is all that we're putting down here. And even with this area where we're going to have the canopy roof go through, we're going to make sure we color all of that, so if there's any sort of whatever misalignment gap there is, it just looks kind of natural. Want to make sure we get into where the window frames are a little bit. Okay, so we let it dry overnight. And you can see that everything's looking pretty good here. I think probably what we want to do is just get a little bit deeper color. In this kind of lighting it looks pretty good, but it's probably better if we just add a second coat. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So the second coat is complete and dry. Okay, so now on to start the actual kind of coloring and weathering we got going on. So we're going to be using, to my off, some flat black paint. And kind of like before, what we want to do is we want to be able to control the paint that we're putting on. So we're going to dip it into and get rid of some excess under kind of our palette there. Dip the brush in their water, get rid of some excess. I'm going to start to put it on. It goes on pretty strong. If I need to, I can just dip the water a little bit and spread it out. I only want to do just the horizontal surface. I'm trying to be careful not to let it drip on down to the sides there. It's not the end of the world, but it's probably better just not to at this point. What we're going to do is just keep it in this position. We're going to allow gravity. You can see it's already starting to pull at all that black paint and really highlight all the stonework here. Again, just try to do the horizontal surfaces. If I see if there's too much, what I'll do, just dip the brush in a paper towel, and I can soak up some of the extra paint. Dip that back into the paper towel. Go and do underneath in the tower in here, get a little bit of black paint on, dip in the water. You see it's kind of thick right there, so I'm gonna, as the brush gets drier, go and I put it up on some of these other surfaces here. The back side of the stonework there. And there's even that ledge over here I want to get. Get the brush dry with the paper towel. Soak up some of the excess. Get in there. Move around top part of the tower. Get rid of some of the excess water. This is a great way for highlighting all the little detail that might be really in any kind of plastic model that you might have. It really helps to highlight it. It doesn't have to be black. Sometimes you could do it if you have a darker brick color or some other thing. You could do it maybe a gray or a white or a brown color, cream color. Just something to offset the detail that might be molded into whatever part it is that you're working with. Okay, so we have the black paint essentially all in place, and even as it is, it's just looking pretty good just the way this is. Really has kind of that smoky, weathered look to it, but I want to do one more touch to it, and that's to do a dry brush on it. And what we're going to do here, we're going to start with some of that special sand color, so the original base coat. Put some of that down. And then we're going to get a little bit of white paint to act as the highlight. Mix the two together. Going to get a brush that is fairly stiff bristles to it. Get a little of the paint in the air. And then when you do dry brush, what you want to do, it's just like it sounds, get a paper towel and get almost all that paint actually off. I don't really want to do a whole lot of application of the paint, and then you just kind of lightly brush on here. I actually got to say there's probably a little bit more than what I wanted, so I'm actually going to take a paper towel. I can wipe a little bit off the excess. Maybe try to get more off the brush itself. I'm just lightly going over the model. What this does again, gets all the highlights. I think they're a little too strong. I can just lightly wipe them off, and we go around and do all surfaces. And now we can see it's finished and ready for a final inspection.